All right. Hello. Here we are for Husky Hoops. I am your host, the best podcast host in the universe, Steve Cully. And with me, as always, the UConn women's legend, Western Connecticut State University head coach, Maria Conlon. Maria, hello.
Morning.
I just wanted to say hi real quick. I have to bounce off, but I just wanted to say hi.
We have a special appearance from the coach Schumann, who's ready to go.
I have another pod I got that I'm doing right now, my 10 o'clock.
Well,
but
we appreciate your appearance, Coach Schumann.
I can't believe they lost to St. John's. All right, I got to go. I'll leave that out there.
Thank you. That's a great start. We appreciate it. And the icon himself, the legendary voice of the Huskies, the best of the best, Joe D'Ambrosia. Joe.
I can't believe they lost to St. John's.
Yeah, that's the word going around. That's the word going around. A lot of people are upset about that. A lot of people were commenting about coach's press conference after the game. Overall, Joe, I didn't think they played close to their best, to be honest.
They got pumped. It was men against boys. Pure and simple.
Yeah, it was more physical than anything. It seemed like they got knocked around. And that's what you would agree with?
Yeah, totally. I mean, you look at the numbers from that game. I mean, it's just it's pretty clear what the problem was that St. John's front court dominated UConn's. Demery was like riding a roller coaster, and now there suddenly seems to be no faith in the bench.
No,
especially in second half.
No, it definitely changed the views for a lot of people. And, St. John's was 22 and, they had started off poorly. They had 5 losses early on. Maria, what were your thoughts?
Well, the 5 losses early on, they played a pretty tough out-of-conference schedule, I think, right?
They did, yes, they did.
Yeah, they did. Yep.
Yeah. So, I think they're seeing some of the fruits of that now. I was hoping we could pull it out. I wasn't surprised that we lost. I was kind of surprised at some of the ways in which we lost, I guess. Like all of a sudden at the end, we can't break a press again. Stuff like that I thought was just not great to see all of a sudden. I mean, Demery had what? He must have had double in turnovers and points, if I had to guess. 9
turnovers.
Yeah, he had 18 points and 9 turnovers. Yeah.
I mean, I really thought that was the difference maker. We turned it over at really inopportune times too. But yeah, I mean, I think Joe was kind of spot on with what he said in terms of how they dominated. I'm just confused at why the bench wasn't played more. Reba in specific.
Right.
Yeah. He only got 6 minutes. Yeah, he was not played.
Well, you look at the numbers in the set. I mean, he got 5 minutes and 11 seconds, and you look at the numbers in the bench numbers in the second half, and it was embarrassing. I mean, they played. He couldn't trust his bench. I mean, the Malachi Smith played a minute 46.
Yeah.
Weibel played 40 seconds. Jalen Stewart played 4 minutes. Ross played 3:15. I mean, that's a lot to ask of your starters nowadays in college basketball, especially coming off a game on Tuesday. And then last night, last night when they were life and death with the Butler team who they own,
right?
It was much of the same, where it was basically the 5 starters, and go get it done for us. And that's not going to be a winning formula from when they play the big boys. Ross played less than 5 minutes. Stewart played 2.5. Smith played 2:15. Weibel played 2:10. I mean, all we talked about early on was all this depth. Oh, the depth is great. Oh, we've got all these players. We can go 9 deep and this and that. Well, no, you can't. As of right now, no, you don't trust them to do that. So,
do you think it's complete trust, or do you think it's lack of ability and execution.
No, it's not lack of ability. We know these kids can play.
Right. Right.
It's just the execution's part of it. But yeah, you don't trust them in big spots.
Yeah, especially in a game like that. I mean, a game like St. John's that you can't roll in.
Well, but last night's even worse. Last night's Butler. Last night's a team that you usually own, that you kicked the crap out of in Hartford 2 weeks earlier.
Right.
And last night was life and death going down the stretch.
Yeah, I mean, and almost all the starters played 30 minutes again, over 30 minutes, and that is unacceptable. I mean, if you can't get Ross, Stewart, Smith, I mean, 13 minutes, 6 minutes, 6 minutes, 10 minutes. I mean, that's not enough. You need production out of that. And then I agree with Marie about Ryba. He is a force in there when they can use them combined with Stewart, especially when I'm with Reed, when Reed is in foul trouble, especially. And he didn't get much time at all and didn't do much with what he did. Do you think with him, he should be getting more time?
No, not if he's not producing.
Not if he's not producing, because it's just tough with Reed because of the foul situation. And yeah, I mean, I get that the Butler game should not have been nearly what it was. And, Reed had the double-double, but it's just not the performance that we like to see out of them. What about the way that they shot the ball against St. John's? What did you think of that?
No, just St. John's was pressuring them. St. John's was making it hard for them to make shots. I mean, sometimes we forget that there's another team on the floor.
They get coached too.
Yeah, they're getting.
And they shot over 50%, Joe. It's not like
I know.
Shooting well. They just didn't get enough shots.
Well, and they, look, there was certain areas that they said they had to be good at. They got their ass kicked in the paint. They got their ass kicked on second chance points. They didn't run, and they had and they gave up 20 points on turnovers. So I mean, those are the three, and the foul shooting. The foul shooting was abysmal. And when you get into the NCAA, first off, you only get 12 free throws. So when you're only getting 12. A minimum number of free throws, you've got to make them. Right? And they were 5 for 12. I mean, Demery was 3 for 6, and Reed was 2 for 6. They were the only guys who took free throws.
Right. That's all. That's all we got. Yeah.
And all the wannabes on X wanna bitch and moan about the officials. Well, when you play a perimeter game, you're not going to go to the free throw line that much.
No.
The only two guys who took the ball to the hoop were Reed and Demery, and those were the guys that got fouled, and those are the guys that couldn't hit free throws.
Right. Maria, what did you think about that? I mean, they have to be more aggressive on offense. They can't always rely on that outside shooting. They have the talent to go inside and drive and make some of those shots and get fouled and get to the free throw line. And they just didn't do it. Right.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I thought Reed was phenomenal last night. He was passing the ball, he was rebounding the ball, he was scoring, he was doing a little bit of everything. So I think when we see minutes go down for other kids, at least he's not in foul trouble the last 2 games where they had to take him out, Joe. But my only issue with that is that, when you don't trust or at least try with some of your bench guys in spots like this, and they're kind of just like a last resort in case of foul trouble, when you get down to March, they're just not going to have as much experience in those moments. So I think you still, to your point, like he's been hammering away at how deep they are. Like, all right, let the dice roll then.
Right.
And play some of these guys, because you're gonna. I mean, let's face it, you're gonna need them down the stretch.
I would agree. I mean, I don't think rolling with Ryba for a couple extra minutes in the second half against St. John's would have been that big of a deal, because Reed was getting beaten up by Ejiofor and Hopkins. So how could Ryba have done any worse? And again, last night they only go to the free throw line 9 times. The difference is they make 7. The discrepancy between the amount of free throws UConn takes and the amount that the other team gets is pretty substantial.
Well, and I watched I watched the majority of last night. I missed like the first like 5 or 6 minutes, but I think anyone who's smart in the country, and I think we've seen this the last 2 games. Caravan was a non-factor last night. He played a little bit
Right.
better against St. John's, but I think teams are exposing him as a defensive liability.
Oh my God, yes.
And the jig is up with that. So we got to figure out some way to hide him, because now what they're doing too is like they're just involving him in all these high ball screens too. And when he can't hedge and these kids are getting downhill, they're getting to the free throw line.
Well, look at how Providence exposed him with that one freshman kid.
Yeah.
They took him to the well.
Yep.
I totally agree. I mean, I understand he's beloved, and he's had a great career, and he's won 2 national championships. Not the only UConn player, by the way, to have won 2 national championships on the men's side. There are 3
Right.
others. People think a lot of these UConn fans think history began in 2021, and it didn't. Shabazz and Niels and Tyler Olander won 2 national championships apiece. So let's just get that out there. But yeah, he's as we've said all along, and it's not as a detriment to him. He's a compliment on a great team. He's a very good complementary player. And he's not your first or second option on this team. He's probably your 4th option offensively. But that doesn't hide the fact that defensively, when you get a smaller 4 playing against him, the kid can take the ball on him, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah, and Maria, you said this early on that we were getting blown by in the front court, and the backcourt was not stepping up and taking them on. We were getting beat off the dribble way too much, and that is something that has to change.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're good defensively on ball and pockets. I think the second that we have to now defend through maybe a ball screen or a ghost screen when somebody's hedging high, I think we get a little lost. I mean, Mullins is another one. I don't think Mullins is a great defender either.
No, but I give him his pass. He's a freshman. He's not.
I agree. But I'm saying
a 5th-year senior like Caravan.
With both of them on the floor at the same time, I just think it's a bigger liability. I'm not saying anything bad about Mullins, but he's definitely, I would say, in that starting lineup, probably your second worst defender. And when you put him in there with Caravan at the same time, that's a lot of slack that the other guys got to pick up.
Well, it's kind of like the Knicks when they play Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns together. They're 2 worst defenders, but they're so good offensively that you can't have it both ways all the time.
Yep, agreed.
But Joe, I mean, you did say that we would probably you expected us to lose maybe 4 games in the Big East.
Yeah, I didn't know the Big East was this bad. I think if you lose 2, I think you might lose 2 or 3 now. I think you could certainly lose to St. John's and Hartford in a couple of weeks. You could lose to Seton Hall. You could lose at Villanova.
Right.
There's games that can be that can be lost there. The other thing I think, and I'm not calling you out on this, Conlon, but it was a heavily favored St. John's crowd.
I saw that. You know what's funny? I knew so many UConn fans who were going.
Yeah, but those are the only UConn fans to win.
They're probably up in the rafters because it's a home game for St. John's.
Well, as both coaches said, it was more like, all this Store South stuff is great when it's not St. John's. It was at least 70-30 St. John's, if not more. And it was a true road game, and there was no advantage to playing at the Garden like there is, against everybody else except St. John's.
Yeah, and that's huge for us.
I stand corrected on that. I gave more credit to the UConn faithful than they deserved.
Well, but no, it's not up to them. St. John's wasn't letting the tickets out. St. John's was making sure the tickets went to St. John's people.
Well, and I said that last pod. I said unless they're going to control who they allow to buy tickets, but yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that. That definitely changes the dynamic right there with that. Joe, with the schedule the way it is, the last few games, like you said, Villanova, St. John's, Seton Hall are their last 3 games. And they're basically in close to the same week. Do you see them being able to get through that with beating a couple teams before Marquette?
Well, I mean, Seton Hall's at home, St. John's is at home, Villanova's
Right.
on the road. They've got 5 conference games left.
Yeah.
Georgetown shouldn't be a problem. Creighton
Right.
shouldn't be a problem. Seton Hall shouldn't be a problem. I think they could lose at Villanova, and they could certainly lose it in Hartford to St. John's. A Wednesday night game, by the way, on Peacock. So
I know.
props to the Big East for this new media deal.
How about that? People, there was an article about it. People were very, very angry about being able to watch UConn and having to go to so many different platforms or spend money to do so. What did you think about that, Joe? Because people are in Connecticut, especially, are not happy with the situation.
I don't think they're happy anywhere, but that's the way of the world now. I mean, that's the Big East Peacock is a viable force in sports media nowadays, and so if you gotta, I'm lucky, I get it. But if you have to pony up, then you pony up or you don't. You listen to the game on the radio, you listen to Mike and Wayne.
Yeah. Yeah, and Maria, I mean, it was the same thing with the women. I mean, fans furious about they just used to be able to go to one channel and watch UConn, and now they have to look. Now it's a pain. Now they have to purchase some of these different streaming platforms to watch them.
Well, the only one, no. Let's not get carried away here. The only one they have to buy is Peacock.
Peacock.
You don't pay for TNT or FS1. That's all part of basic cable. So let's not make this like people are going without food for a week to watch UConn basketball.
Right. No, I know.
You know
it's
what's
just
funny, Joe?
They're frustrated about it. That's all.
Here's what's funny to me, right? And I love our UConn, our UConn fan contingency, etc. But back in the day,
most of them.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. People forget that they're talking about kids and blah blah blah. Anyways, when we had CPTV, in order to keep CPTV running, they relied heavily on donations from our fans, right?
Right, exactly.
So you're donating $100, let's just say a season, to get a coffee mug that, by the way, you can get for $5 at a store. But it's the same thing. Like, in order to keep this running and have access to watch your team, sometimes you got to pony up a couple of dollars.
I agree. You're preaching to the choir, Maria.
You're
preaching to the choir. And look, it's not just UConn that's dealing with this.
No,
it's everybody in the
Right.
everybody in the Big East. It's the Big East.
I wasn't able to watch the women's game last night, so I watched the men's game. I mean, I was following it on my computer, but it's you just got to figure it out. I mean, I have Fubo, but it wasn't on Fubo last night either.
It was just on Peacock.
It's on Peacock, but on the paid subscription Peacock. So I have Peacock through Prime, but I don't get all live events.
Oh, really?
Through it on Prime. Yeah.
And
so it is a little bit of a pain.
Events.
Like, I get it, but to your point, it's like, I don't know. Just buy Peacock for like 3 months and then cancel it.
Yeah, and then cancel the subscription. It's not. This isn't rocket science.
Not rocket science, no.
And I mean, I'll be respectfully honest, and I mean, the thing that annoys me about the women's schedule is the whole Big East tournament is on Peacock.
Oh, the whole Big East tournament's going to be on Peacock.
Women's tournament.
Oh, yeah.
It was last year, wasn't it?
I thought it was on SNY last year.
No, it wasn't on SNY. It was on the finals was on FS1.
Are you talking about the Big East tournament or just the tournament in general?
The Big East tournament.
Oh, I got you. But the tournament games are on Peacock.
NCAA?
I think they were last year, weren't they?
No, the
know about
Peacock
that.
just got into it this
No,
year. as far as I know.
ESPN has all
Yeah.
the women's tournament games. No, they're not. The NCAA is not going to sell out and put games on a streaming platform that a lot of people aren't going to pay money for.
What was the
No, the
random
women's
one last year that they were on then?
They were on like True TV. They were on.
Yes,
Or maybe
right.
that's what I'm
Yeah,
thinking of.
yeah. I
There was
mean,
like a
Which is
random
o-
channel.
which is over the air cable, which has been part of the men's tournament package
Correct.
forever.
forever.
Right.
Yes.
The women's tournament is always exclusive to ESPN, and the men's tournament is CBS, True TV, TNT, and TBS. So
Joe, for the men, guys coming off the bench, who do you think right now is most important that they need to see improvement, need to see production from, that needs to be in the mix for them to have, long-term success going into March?
well, I mean, I think Ryba's important because you're going to get Reed into foul trouble. I think
Yeah.
Ryba's had a really good freshman year. He's just not in the circle of trust right now. Malachi Smith is going to be
Oh, yeah.
is going to be a roller coaster. He's going to be games like where he hits all those threes that he hit, and there's going to be games where he can't throw the ball in the ocean and he dribbles out the shot clock. So I think and it seems to me that Ross has supplanted Stewart in the
Yeah.
in the circle of trust. I don't think he feels like Stewart's a guy that can give him consistency. He too, like Smith, is kind of up and down. So I would think Ryba and Ross are the two guys that are most important. But Smith's important too because he's your backup point guard. And if your starter gets in foul trouble, if Demery gets in foul trouble, then you got nowhere to go. Mullins isn't going to handle the ball. Ross isn't, or Solo's not going to handle the ball. Caravan's not going to be your point.
No.
So you got to have Smith. You got to be able to trust Smith to play 10 or 12 minutes a game.
No.
And right now he doesn't trust him over the last couple of games.
Maria, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, listen, I agree. I mean, I think you need 3 guys from the bench that you can count on to play 10 to 15 minutes a game if you need to. I mean, I think 12 to 15 even right now shouldn't be like earth-shattering.
Yeah.
Under double digits for multiple guys off the bench, it's almost like what point? Because you're not getting into a flow anyways. Like to Joe's point, he broke down the actual minutes, per half. I mean, listen, any basketball player will tell you, like, you need time to get into a flow. This whole like herky jerky of being able to come in and like save the world in 90 seconds is not really a thing. You got to be in for a couple minutes at a time to get your feet under you and get into the flow of the offense and the defense of the game. So we got to, I think we need at least 3 of the 4 guys that he's played to be playing more minutes than they are for us to go deep into March. I just don't think that 5 guys playing, 32 to 35 minutes a game is going to get it done.
No.
Especially on the men's side. There's just too many variables.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think when they get minutes normally get cut when you get into the NCAA tournament.
Sure.
Nobody's playing the bench 15 minutes apiece
No.
in the NCAA tournament unless somebody's lighting it up. By the way, on the Peacock front, in the men's tournament, the 3 first-round games on March 11th, which are all seeds 6 and below, are on Peacock. The thing that gets me is the next day, the quarterfinal day, the afternoon doubleheader, which includes the number 1 seed, which could very well be UConn playing at noon, and the number 4 seed. I don't think UConn will slip to number 4, are on Peacock. So you could have your quarterfinal game in the Big East on Peacock, which would flip, and then everything else is on FS1 or Fox. So, which people are used to. So it's just, that's part of the deal. The Big East side, that's why we have much gnashing of teeth about UConn getting in a Power 4 conference Although some of the Power Four conferences,
Yeah.
not all their games are on. It's not a perfect universe.
It's all spread around with everyone now. That's just the way the TV deals have worked out. A question, Joe. UConn lost to St. John's, and they struggled with the press. Would you agree that it was mainly because of self-inflicted issues?
No, St. John's.
You think it was
St.
St. John's?
No, St.
performance?
John's guards you all over the floor. Makes it impossible to inbound the ball.
Right.
Like Maria said, I was just surprised that they had such a hard time doing that. They knew it was coming. I'm sure they were drilled in it.
They were coached.
They just didn't execute.
And what would you say are the recurring weaknesses for the men's team that have not been addressed or fixed yet?
No killer instinct, not
That's
stepping on
true.
somebody's throat and finishing them
Very
off.
true. Yeah.
Fouling way too much. And they have a propensity to struggle with their 3-point shot at times, even though in Mullins and Ball, you've got two of the best 3-point shooters in the conference.
Maria, what about you? I mean, what do you think as far as recurring weaknesses and issues that the men's team has yet to fix?
I think Joe listen, I agree with everything Joe said. I think, the glaring thing that I saw against St. John's was our ability to take care of the ball down the stretch against the press, which we haven't really seen a lot of this year, Joe. So, that was a little concerning because I think people are going to watch that game and say, "Hey, let's pressure them." So I think that I think the foul trouble's been better the last couple of games. Like I said,
Right.
the fact that Reed has been able to play over 30 minutes is a bonus for us. I don't know if that's sustainable.
And knock on
into
wood, stay
a
healthy.
deep run, playing 35 minutes a game, getting banged around the entire time. I just still think we've yet to find, what is our 1-2 punch offensively consistently? Like, we go down to March, Joe, and, we're playing against a red hot team. Solo Ball played really well last night. I was happy to see that because I haven't really thought that he's been as good offensively as he was last year. But I think that we got to identify who are our bucket getters 100% as we go into this deep run, because I do think it's been different every game, which is great, right? Because you have more people able to do it.
Yeah.
But you need a big bucket with 3 minutes left. Who's that guy?
Well, right. That's the thing. I mean, you can't always count on Reed because teams are going to converge, but I think he's one of the guys. I think at the end of the day, because of his versatility, it's going to be Demery. Demery can take the ball to the hoop. He's shown he can hit the three. I think it'll be Demery and Ball and Reed. Now, the problem with that is if you identify Demery as one of those guys, then the ball might stick to his hand too much, and then the other guys aren't getting the ball where they're supposed to. But he hasn't shown any of that lately, so I wouldn't worry about that. I would say Demery and Reed with Ball as the third guy.
Right.
Yeah, I think my only concern with Demery is his ability to make free throws.
Right.
So it's great that he's getting to the basket and all that stuff, but I think the jury's still out on whether this guy can actually make free throws down the stretch in a pressure situation. So, that's a little bit of
he's shooting 78% on the year, which isn't horrific by any stretch of the imagination. Anything over 75 is pretty good. I mean, the guy I wouldn't trust, the guy who I would hack if I were the opposition would be Reed.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, 56%. So I think Demery's okay in that department, MC. I'm not, he has some games like the St. John's game where he couldn't stick it in, but I think one of the things there was I think he was just dog ass tired at the end of the game because he had to work so hard to bring the ball up the floor, and he got no support from his backup point guard.
Right, but again, I think we're going to see that more. So if
Right.
I think if
This will be
he's
the
going to have to
formula.
play 35 minutes, he's going to be dog tired at the end. And then when he's getting fouled, is he going to be able to drill those? Because he wasn't.
Yeah,
Against
but I don't. To be honest with you, I don't know how many teams can press like St. John's does. I
They have
think
the
that's
ability.
that's something that's something we have to remember is I don't know how many teams can press like that for 40 minutes like they do.
The capability, right?
And it's just, to be honest with you, it's just on the inbounds, getting the ball inbounds, and then they're guarding you up the floor. But
I've
it's
never seen
not.
anything like it besides at
Yeah,
WestCon because my kids have that problem too.
yeah.
You
I
know,
mean,
we're up 14 the other day, Joe, with 5 minutes and 58 seconds left. And by the 4-minute 32 mark, we're up 5.
Was that
And
a
it's one of those
Castleton?
things as a coach, like my assistant coach was funny because the same thing, we're playing Keene State on Saturday, and it's like we got to win.
Oh,
Last time we played Keene State, and they're third in our league. They're really good, but we played Keene State. The game was a 3-point game. I made one substitution, and my assistant calls it the suicide. She comes in, and it's like a suicide bomber to the court because all of a sudden, it's like we go from being down 4 to down 16 in like the blink of an eye. There's like no sense to it whatsoever, and that just happens when you're just not strong in one area, and a team just happens to capitalize on it in the right moments. It's like an
yeah. No,
avalanche, man.
it's not easy.
Oh, I
It's
tell you
not
what, being
easy.
a college coach is not for the faint of heart.
no. I mean, that's why a
But I
couple
tell you,
all
and like,
coaches
listen,
resigned.
it's also like, I watched the women's game, and we didn't even talk about them, nor should we, because it steamrolls. There's not even a point in having a conversation about their games. But when you have 7 players that can consistently bring the ball up and make good decisions, life becomes really, really easy. If you got one, maybe like, I won't even say one, like a half of one, your life goes from being like really happy to like deep depression in the blink of an eye. I go through it on a game to game basis. There hasn't been a game in 2 years that I've been there where I didn't have to coach every second of the game. And what I mean by that is like, as a coach, you're up, God forbid we're up 16 with like 2 minutes left and I could throw some of the bench kids in and
No,
like
you wouldn't want to
like,
do that.
I can't even do
No.
that. It's like every second of every game. And it got to the point the other day at Vermont where literally, Joe, I called a timeout. Vermont has the ball. I've scouted them to a T. I know exactly what they're going to run here. I had to walk my kids through it in the timeout. Listen, they're going to down screen from the elbow with the big. The big's going to seal. They're going to pass it directly into the big from the sideline. The big is going to fake this shoulder, turn, take one dribble, go. Literally textbook. But I had to coach every second of that. Thankfully, we listened and executed. But like, it's insane. It's insane, man.
Yeah.
That is funny.
It's a mindset, right? That's what
Oh
it
my
is.
gosh.
Is a mindset.
It's
Joe,
crazy.
you kind of answered this, but which player would you say on the roster has the highest ceiling, but really isn't close to reaching it just yet?
Wow, that's an almost impossible question to answer. I mean, I would think which player is the highest ceiling on the roster? I think Mullins.
Yeah.
I think Mullins.
But he hasn't been close to reaching it yet.
No, but he's been really, really, really good.
Yes, since they changed the lineup, yes.
Well, but they changed the lineup back in November, December. So, it's changing the lineup thing. It's not like they just did it 2 weeks.
No, but I mean, since they made him the starter, I think.
Well, when he got healthy, they made him the starter. Yeah. That was the plan all along. The plan was never to bring him off the bench. He only came off the bench because he had been hurt.
I did not know.
I mean, I think in the grand scheme of things, of anybody on the roster, and we're not talking about, this is not based on NBA projections, but I think Mullins will turn out to be the best of the group, just because he's so versatile. He can play a little bit of defense. His needs to get better there. His handle needs to get a little bit better, but from the shooting aspects, I mean, I think he's got it all. So I think Mullins has the highest ceiling.
Maria?
I agree. 100% agree. Yeah.
And frankly, if we want to extrapolate it to the NBA, of all the kids on the team right now, the only one who'd play in the NBA is Mullins.
You don't think Reed?
No, 6'9". You think Reed's better than Adama Sanogo was?
No, you're right. You're right.
And what was that? How much did Adama Sanogo play in the NBA? A second
You're right.
and a half. You know, everybody fawned over Andre Jackson. How much is Andre Jackson's an afterthought? Jordan Hawkins is buried on the bench. Tristan Newton can't get out of the G League. James Bouknight was a NBA failure. No, Spencer's been great. Castle's been great. Klingen's been really good. You know, but it's especially with the international players. It's a big step. You know, I don't think Reed at 6'9" is an NBA center.
Right. No, he's not. He's not. What would you say is one adjustment the men's team consistently struggles to make in game? And I know, you know, the press was huge with St. John's, but other than that, is there anything you see that they struggle to make?
No, because I think one thing that I talked about earlier that I was dead wrong about was this dribbling out the shot clock. They are very poised when it comes to late shot clock situations. It's not very often that they get off bad shots late in the shot clock. In-game adjustment, it would just be being able to put teams away. When you get up 10, don't let it get to 4. Put it up to 20.
Right.
That's all.
Right.
You know, other than that, look, the other thing I was just going to say before you asked that question, Steve, was can't overreact to the St. John's game. They knew St. John's were going to be good. And to be honest with you, St. John's problems early in the season came from the fact that they had all new players and they
didn't gel. Yeah.
Yeah, they had
a tough schedule.
Yeah, well, so did UConn though, when UConn went 5-1.
Yeah, but I'm saying you add in like a ton of new players.
Right.
And a really tough I agree with you. I mean, I don't think we should spend too much time dwelling on this St. John's loss. Like, it could actually help us down the road, right?
Sure.
Like,
because you see things that need work.
Yep.
Right.
Does that, Joe? Do you think that St. John's loss? Like, assume I want you to do two. I want you to assume we win the Big East tournament. I want you to assume we don't win the Big East tournament. Did we just play ourselves out of a number one?
Well, I think if you don't win the Big East tournament, there's no shot you get a 1 seed.
Yeah.
And I think if you win the Big East tournament, you still might not get a number 1, depending on what happens in the next 5 games. But I would say you're more likely to get a number 1. Like all that bracketology crap, which I despise, but I look at constantly. Lenardi still had him as a 1 seed after the loss to St. John's. So, a loss like that. Now, if they lose to him at home at People's Bank, then that's a little bit more of a red flag.
That's a conundrum right there.
That's the only thing that I look at with that loss to St. John's is a potential of not getting a 1 seed in the tournament, which I still think they can do. But that's really the only harm in that whatsoever.
It's just because the conference isn't as regarded as powerful.
How many losses does St. John's have in the Big East, Joe?
I don't think they won. Yeah.
Well, literally, it'll come down to probably, assuming both take care of business in every other game, it'll come down to that game at home on who's going to get the 1 seed for the Big East tournament. Then,
yes, I would say that's exactly correct. I think that's what you're looking at.
Maria, a question for you. What do you think is the hardest conversation the coaching staff has to have with this team this season to change things, or a tough conversation that they may have to have with the team?
We're talking about the men?
Yeah.
I mean, I really don't like listen, I think the tough conversation is that we need some people to step up off the bench and be able to contribute a little bit more when they're in there, so we don't have to rely as heavily on the 5 starters playing as much as they do. I think hard conversation with Caravan of like, man, you got to stop fouling and keep people in front of you.
Yeah.
Because it's putting a lot of stress
On the bigs.
on the front court, right? So
when he gets
outside of that, I mean, listen, they have what, 2 losses on the year?
Right, exactly.
that's
mean,
that's it. Yeah.
They're not really like, I don't think that there's a ton to fix. I think that the conversation is we can't get complacent right now through the rest of the Big East. Like we can't have a hiccup against a team that we shouldn't
Creighton
have.
or, something like
I
that.
think that's really the conversation that I would be having is we got to take care of business and then we got to avenge the loss against St. John's.
Yeah. And
that's really it. I mean, they're not playing bad. They're not playing.
No.
I mean, like this is that time in the season, especially in the Big East schedule, where you're looking at some of these teams that you know you're dramatically better than. And it's a matter of let's not take a night off against a team that we think that we should kill and let them hang in the game and potentially, have every ball bounce their way in the final 2 minutes. I think outside of that, I think that they've played really well. I think that they've won a lot of games in close situations, which is really good.
They went to overtime. Yep.
So I think the conversation is really like, who's going to step up, from the bench, because I do think that the starters have, for the most part, taken care of business this year. And, they need 1 or 2 people down the stretch that are going to be able to come in and play minutes if people get into foul trouble, etc. Outside of that, it's just don't take a night off. Like you can't come out against a Butler team.
No.
Like last night and let them hang around for as long as they did. I mean, listen, I thought Butler probably played as good as they could play.
Yes, exactly.
But you got to expect that. It's like on the women's side, like, you're going to, and we saw it in the first quarter last night. I think we were only up like 4 at the end of the first. You're going to get everybody's best effort against you every single night. So you got to play every game like you're playing St. John's again from here till the rest of the season.
Exactly. And that was the next question, Joe. The pressure of being a top 5 program. I know we're not top 5 right now, but we're everyone's Super Bowl. Do you think that it is starting to wear somewhat on the players?
If it is, they shouldn't have come here.
That's true. That's a great answer.
You come to UConn to win championships.
You have to expect that. You're right.
If the pressure of getting everybody's best shot is starting to get to you, then leave at the end of the year and go somewhere. Go somewhere like in the Western Athletic Conference or Mountain West or MAC, or go somewhere like that, because you don't belong here then. If that's a factor.
That's you know what, you're right. That's the expectation when you come here. Maria, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean,
the pressure weighing on them?
I think, like, why do you came to the basketball capital of the world? I'm assuming because you wanted to be a part of history and you wanted to be a part of the tradition. So I think to Joe's point, if that's weighing on you, then you got to do a gut check and maybe go somewhere else. I think, I don't think that either program, right, the men or the women, feel that way. Like I
agree.
Specifically the women. I mean, I think they'd rather be in some tighter games where you got Sarah Strong. I mean, it's nice because I know she's a little bit banged up right now, so it's nice to be able to pull her,
right,
give her a little bit of rest in some of these blowouts. But I think at the end of the day, if you're a competitor, which I'm assuming if you came to Connecticut you are, you want that target on your back. Like, let everybody give us their best so that we can rise to the top, because it's only going to prepare us more for the end game, which is to win a national championship. So I
totally agree. Totally agree.
Exactly. Maria, switching to the women's team.
Oh man,
I'll take a nap.
Who would you say on the roster needs to maybe take a leap and improve for the women to truly win a title again this year? Can you name one player that stands out in particular?
I mean, like, listen, I think that, I mean, Allie Zeibel had another great shooting night last night. She's playing a lot better, so I think that's a good sign for them.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I think I always look at things in terms of like how would I play UConn? What do I think I would
Yeah.
have to do in a game? I mean, outside of just pray, right? Do the rosary like 10 times that day. But like, pray that every player has an off game and like, I don't know. But I think the long and the short of it is that you got to play a perfect game against them. And I don't think there's anyone on their roster that I think needs to level up. I think they're all playing their roles really, really well. I think that as we get down to potential crunch time and we see maybe a team like UCLA, El Affy might need to come in and be a little bit of a bruiser down the stretch.
Yeah.
And contribute a little bit. And I say that like I'm grasping for straws there with that because
No, I get that.
I think that Williams and Strong can do a good enough job on a kid like her, but in the event that someone's in foul trouble, I think that against a team like that, I think you're still going to need somebody to be able to mark bets. But outside of that, I don't know. I mean, it's theirs to lose right now. I just don't see any other team out there,
that comes close.
No, I mean, again, I'm not saying they can't come
UCLA,
close.
I know, but
I'm not saying that they can't come close. I'm just looking at like pure matchup standpoint that we haven't really seen.
right.
Because we've shown that no matter the style or what's going on, I mean, I would have loved for us to have South Carolina on the schedule again this year, just so that we can kind of see what we look like against that type of team. Because I don't think that we've played anybody that's similar, who's pretty consistently deep in every area, that can keep up with the pace and the physicality. And then South Carolina's proven this year too that they can make some outside shots, which is unique and different to them. We haven't really seen that from them at all in the Dawn Staley era. That's always kind of been their Achilles heel, which I don't think it is this year. I think they shot the ball really well. So yeah, I mean, any of these teams on a night where maybe AZ isn't shooting great, and the pace gets a little bit out of our hands, because I did think in the first half against Tennessee we let the speed of the game get ahead of us a little bit.
Yeah.
I think we're capable of playing fast. That doesn't mean that we should want to play fast for 40 minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like I said, I'm grasping for straws there.
No, I know. And my only concern is I hope Blanca comes back and comes back from her injury faster.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, I think I think a national championship, I'm not saying that we can't win it without her. But I think the path is a lot easier if we have that three-headed monster.
Yeah.
And I think Blanca is a crucial piece to that.
Huge
so
piece.
hopefully she can get back, because she provides shooting. She's a 3-level scorer too, and she's a heck of a defender.
Right.
So I think without her, that path becomes a little bit more difficult. But I'm not saying that I don't think we can win it without her. I just think it helps. It helps
She's
the resume.
a good piece to have. Absolutely. Yeah. Joe, do you have an answer?
No, I would say if I were playing against UConn, what I would do is I would pack it in and dare him to beat you from outside. Tell Fudd you may, or I would play a triangle in two. I would play one person on Strong, one person on Fudd, and say to KK and Shade and Zeibel and Williams, go ahead, you beat me. Now with Blanca in the lineup, that changes the perception totally. When Blanca comes back, then you couldn't do something like that. Or I might just double team Sarah and say, okay, so you got to make every shot.
You got to beat us, right?
I 100% agree with that. I would box in one Sarah. I wouldn't even worry about a triangle in two, because I think they space the floor too well, move too well without the ball.
Yeah, it's a good point.
But I would box in one Sarah. I would know where AZ is at all times.
Right, and tell the other kids, go ahead, you win.
Yep.
And if they do, God bless them. Then UConn's the best team. And again, that's why Blanca is the X factor, I think, Not for winning, because like Maria said, they can win it without her. But if they have her, it makes every other team's mission 100 times harder.
Right. The last thing I wanted to ask was there was an article written in the Connecticut Examiner last week that I did not like or agree with. The writer is a political writer, typically, and he wrote about UConn. The title of the article I thought was like defamation. He wrote secret payments and corruption. UConn teams still continue to win because he believes that every men's player and women's player, what they're being paid by the university and NIL should be made public because UConn's a public university. And first of all, they're 1099 independent contractors. Second of all, you're putting a target on their back. I totally disagreed with him. But Joe, I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Well, I don't understand how he's putting a target on their backs. Explain that to me.
Well, okay, it comes out Solo Ball's making $2 million. You don't think that, someone's going to go after him. Someone's going to case where he lives and try to rob him. That was the first thing. If they can rob Patrick Mahomes and NFL players, you don't think some gang from Hartford could drive up and case his schedule and know where he's going to be at all times? And if they're playing an away game, break in and steal stuff from him?
What, you mean in the dorm rooms?
Yeah.
No. In the door? No. No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Well, they live in apartments, Chris told me. So that's why.
Well, but still, there's, you went there, Steve. You know that there's security. But, listen, I would have to imagine that if Solo Ball's making $2 million, I don't think he's got $2 million hanging around his apartment in college.
No, right.
Maybe he has a couple Xboxes and a flat screen TV or whatever. Okay, all replaceable stuff. But I don't think it's to the level of a Mahomes situation. And by the way, I would have to assume that if you're that type of person and you want to rob somebody, you could literally go to any college campus and just follow any athlete around, any football player, any basketball player, and you could probably steal money from them. I don't think it puts anything extra on anyone's back. Assume if you're playing at a high level Division I athletic conference now in football or basketball that those kids are making really good money.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's happened at other places where, it's not officially reported, but, people say what they make. So that was my fear, was for safety. And I thought that, none of the payments are secret or corrupt. Everything is reported. The athletic department has to report what they spend, and they follow.
But they only have to report
rules.
what they. But they only have to report what they spend as in total. They don't have to report what they spent the individual players.
Correct. That's what I'm saying. That's what the guy wants. He says they have no expectation of privacy because they play on national television. They have millions of fans. People follow them. They go to games. So they have no expectation of privacy. We deserve to know where our tax money's going and what they're getting paid.
But it's not their tax money.
Well, because the university pays them directly. So
but they're paying based off of what they get in endorsements and money.
It's not just NIL. The university can pay directly and they can get NIL on top of it. They're two separate things.
Okay, so maybe I'm having a blonde moment here.
Yeah.
It's not like they're not state employees, right?
Exactly.
Players. So
they're 1099 independent contractors. Yes.
But the university isn't saying, okay, we got $5 million that we're going to allocate to pay athletes. I'm assuming that that's coming from a balance sheet of here's what athletics brought in. Here's what we're paying to athletics. No,
the NCAA approved a budget of $20 million per athletic department, which you can spend on your players, where the school can pay them directly. So that was approved for this year. And, some teams spend the 20 million, other departments don't come close to it. So they want to know, UConn reports what it spends on the athletic department, but this guy believes that every single player should be on that list and what they're being paid, because it is from university funds. And like Rutgers right now, there's $78 million in debt. And they want to know what the athletes are getting paid because it's their tax money that funds it. So that was what the article was about. And I just disagreed with it, saying it was
the
secret
state
and
of
corrupt.
Connecticut is taking tax revenue and giving $20 million of it to University of Connecticut to pay.
Well, yeah, it's part of it. Yeah, I mean, because they get federal tax money, but it's also based on tuition and other things that contribute to the money that they're allowed to use to pay them. Yes, but the money comes directly from the university. Ergo, tax money is part of it.
Where was this headline? What was the headline you were talking about?
The Connecticut Examiner, and then it got picked up by some major media outlets. It was by author Chris Powell.
Yeah, I know who Chris Powell is. I'm well aware of who Chris Powell is.
Okay, well, I did not.
You understand that the writer does not do the headlines, right? You understand that?
No, I understand that, but I thought what he said was wrong.
That the university. Well, but Steve, here's the thing, and I'm not going to defend Chris Powell because I really don't have any use for him. But he's a writer. He's entitled to his opinion.
It was an opinion article, yes, but it fired a lot of people up.
Well, so fine. That's what an opinion. Guess what? Then he did his job, because that's what opinion articles are supposed to do. Not everybody marches in lockstep with everything the University of Connecticut does, and that's the way it should be.
Do you agree, though? Do you think that the players, what they make, should be disclosed?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Maria's saying?
I don't know.
Unless they're state employees,
which they're not.
I don't see how you can legally expect that or ask that.
Yeah, that's what I wrote.
And I got to be honest, obviously I'm a Connecticut resident, as is Joe, so I'm paying tax dollars.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that some of my tax money is going to fund athlete pay, specifically wouldn't it be nice, Joe, if one of these athletes who's getting all this freaking money said, you know what, I'm going to take $1 million of it, dice it up and pay it to all the athletes before me that never got the opportunity to get paid, but paved the way for me to be able to get paid now. Wouldn't that be such a nice gesture? I mean, it'll never happen.
Right, exactly. But yes, in a perfect world, it would happen. But
so, think about me. I played at the University of Connecticut. I'm a Connecticut resident. I'm paying tax money to pay players to play the sport that I played for free.
Well, I'd like
free lightly. Obviously, I got a free tuition, but
what I'd like to find out is how much, and I think this should be available through Freedom of Information. How much of the $20 million that UConn is getting to pay their athletes is coming from state funds, and how much of it is taxable income? I think we're entitled to that.
That is not available.
It should be.
UConn got a FOIA exemption to protect that information because they don't think that their athletes deserve to.
But it's not. That's not. But it's how much money is going to the school. We're not talking about the individual athletes here.
Yeah. What's of that 20 million? How much of our tax dollars?
How much of our tax dollars is going to this $20 million?
Yeah, maybe you could FOIA that. Yes.
That is a good question. I mean, listen, like I said, this is the first.
We can find that out.
I'm going to try not to get my blood boiling here, because that is kind of ridiculous. But I do agree. I think the correct article that should have been written is not how much each individual player gets of the 20 million. I got to be honest, I couldn't care less.
Me too.
Which of the players is getting what? Now, my question would be, how much of that 20 million is coming out of taxpayer dollars?
Right. No,
I think
is it half?
I think we're entitled to that. I think we're entitled to that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So that's the article he should have written. So
I just wanted your
if you're listening, that's an article I would pay more attention to. How much Solo Ball makes versus Sarah Strong versus whatever. I don't. 6 and one, half a dozen the other to me. It doesn't really matter. But
Yeah.
how much of that is coming from our pockets is a better question and would be a better article.
And look, I may be totally in the weeds on this, but I don't think anybody's making $1 million. Okay. I think if you think somebody at the University of Connecticut's making $1 million to play sports, I think that's whistling up a tree. Maybe they are. Maybe I'm wrong. But think of it this way. Let's say two athletes. Let's say one football player X, and men's basketball player X, and women's basketball player X is making $1 million apiece. Then you're trying to split $17 million among hundreds of athletes. Where's the fairness in that?
I agree with you. I just wanted your thoughts.
That would be but Joe, that's like, because I mean, listen, I agree. That would be preposterous, and I think you'd have some Title IX issues there too, as well.
You would.
That many male athletes getting that versus women, right? But
yes,
it's like saying, all right, you work at a corporation. Advisor X versus advisor X is making dramatically more than advisor Y and Y. I'm sure there's a way you could justify it. I'm not saying it's right, but do I think Sarah Strong should make more money than Ali Zeibel? Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes, I totally. Right. Yeah, yes. This is not communist China. Everybody's not created equal. No. The better athletes get more money, but we've seen, much like in professional sports, where bad decisions are made, aka Nick Evers, aka Aiden Mahoney, right? We've had kids who have come in the NIL era who have stunk, who have not played up to their capabilities, and they're taking money.
I agree. Well, thank you guys. A phenomenal show. Thank you for answering those questions. And we'll see what happens. I believe UConn has.
Don't we want to get into a more in-depth analysis of the women's game last night? Because it was pretty riveting.
Well, yeah, that and the Super Bowl. What did you think of the women's game? Was it Creighton last night?
Yeah, it's not even. They play like Maria had the highlight. Ali Zeibel played great. Sarah Strong came back, and it was 100-0. So
yeah, it was unbelievable. It just blows my mind that Division I college teams can score single digits in a quarter. That just gets me.
Well, it happens. It happens.
It happens a lot against the UConn women.
It's quite doable.
No. I mean, it's just they're unbelievable, and they are on a roll, and I don't see them losing until Chris. I talked to Chris the Citus Joe. He wanted me to say hello.
Oh, I saw him last Thursday.
He saw you. Yeah, he saw you MC an event for it. So he said that if they were to lose, it wouldn't be until the Elite Eight or the Final Four. There's nothing close.
I love Citus, but he's not breaking news there.
No.
That's what Maria and I have said all along. And I don't even think the Elite Eight. I mean, unless somebody like South Carolina or Texas slips to a 2 seed and they're in UConn's region, I don't think they lose until they get to the Final Four.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's not even a guarantee.
I agree.
As far as the Super Bowl is concerned, I officially said 31-10 on Facebook, so I was off by 5 points, 4 points, whatever.
Yeah, you were close.
And it was the Patriots getting their comeuppance for having the easiest path ever to get to the Super Bowl. They didn't play anybody. They played a Justin Herbert, who stinks in the playoffs. They play C.J. Stroud, who's a scared little puppy. They played a second-string quarterback in the snow in Denver.
Went and played 3 years.
And then when they played a real team, they got their ass kicked. So I wasn't surprised at all.
I will say, you know who I love? And then I got to hop off. From the Patriots, Gonzalez, cornerback.
Yeah, he can play.
He's really good.
He can play. And I like Drake May. He had a miserable game. but that's only because
young.
no, there's no guarantee you're getting back because we've seen that. You know,
No, you're right.
The greatest show on turf never got back, or they got back once and got beat by the Patriots. So, but good for Seattle. They were the best team all year.
I was happy for Sam Darnold. He'd been through hell and back. He deserved it.
Yep.
All right. Well, great job. Thank you guys. Maria Conlon.
You got a game tonight, Conlon?
No, we're on a bye week. We're at Keene State Saturday, then we're at Rick, then we're home UMass Dartmouth. We gotta win 2 of the next 3 to be in conversation for playoffs. So
it's not this Saturday, right?
This Saturday, yeah.
Oh, you do play this Saturday. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we wish you well.
Thank you.
That's in Mass, right?
New Hampshire.
Oh, they're in New Hampshire. Okay. All right. So Maria Conlon, Western Connecticut State University head coach, UConn women's legend. Joe D, the legendary icon himself, the voice of the Huskies, the best of the best. I'm Steve Cully, the best podcast host in the universe. Remember, when life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Take 2 oranges, throw them right back at life. And I'm Steve Cully. I'm running for Congress.